UFC 229, The Clash of Titans. October 6, 2018, Las Vegas. A date etched in the history of mixed martial arts as one of the most heated and controversial showdowns ever. UFC 229 was more than just a fight. It was a battleground where personal grudges, national pride, and martial arts excellence collided. On one side stood Khabib Nurmagomedov, the undefeated and stoic Russian bear, the reigning UFC lightweight champion, ready to defend his title with the weight of his undefeated legacy on his broad shoulders. On the other side, the brash, outspoken, and lightning-fast Irishman Conor McGregor, the former two-division UFC champion, who had come back after a hiatus, seeking redemption and to reclaim his dominance in the octagon. Khabib Nurmagomedov, the Eagle. Khabib Nurmagomedov was born in 1988 in the mountains of Dagestan, a land defined by conflict and strength, where fighting was not just a sport, but a way of life. From an early age, Khabib was immersed in combat sports, thanks to his father, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, a former wrestler who taught his son the importance of discipline, respect, and martial arts mastery. Khabib's early training wasn't limited to just wrestling. He trained in judo, sambo, and other martial arts, but it was his unmatched wrestling that defined him as one of the greatest fighters to ever step inside the octagon. By the time Khabib made his UFC debut in 2012, his name was already being whispered in the combat sports community. His relentless style, suffocating pressure, and an undefeated record made him an instant force in the division. But what truly set Khabib apart was his unshakable composure inside and outside the octagon. He was a man of principle, loyalty, and humility, a true warrior who wore his success with quiet pride. When Khabib earned his UFC title shot in 2018 against the highly controversial and trash-talking Conor McGregor, it was the culmination of years of hard work, sacrifice, and a personal code of honor that had brought him to the cusp of greatness. Conor McGregor, the notorious. Then there was Conor McGregor, a name that echoed across the world of combat sports like a thunderclap. Born in 1988, in Dublin, Ireland, McGregor was a product of his environment. From the gritty streets of Crumlin to global fame, Conor's journey wasn't one paved with humble beginnings, but with explosive moments, unforgettable quotes, and his larger-than-life personality. Conor's rise to fame in the UFC was like a rocket launch, fiery. With his combination of technical skill, precision, and an undeniable charisma, McGregor quickly became the first fighter in UFC history to hold two titles simultaneously at featherweight and lightweight. His trash-talking, confidence, and bravado earned him both admirers and enemies, but it was undeniable. Conor McGregor was a superstar, and the UFC was his stage. However, in the aftermath of his meteoric rise, McGregor's career hit turbulence. Legal issues, a loss to Nate Diaz, and a chaotic foray into boxing, where he faced Floyd Mayweather, left McGregor's future uncertain. He needed a return to the UFC, a dominant one, to reclaim his legacy, and Khabib Nurmagomedov was the perfect man for the job. The rivalry, personal and nationalistic. The build-up to Khabib vs. Conor was not just about titles, it was deeply personal. In the lead-up to the fight, McGregor and Khabib exchanged words, but McGregor's words crossed a line. He targeted Khabib's family, religion, and his homeland of Dagestan, often insulting Khabib's father, Abdulmanap, and making disparaging remarks about the Russian fighter's culture. But the infamous moment that ignited the fire was McGregor's attack on a bus carrying Khabib and other UFC fighters. McGregor, in a fit of rage after Khabib's interaction with one of his teammates, threw a dolly, a steel chair, through the bus window, injuring several fighters, including UFC veteran Michael Chiesa. The image of the shattered glass, McGregor's face, twisted in anger, became the symbol of their feud, a symbol of the chaos McGregor had stirred. McGregor was arrested, and the incident only fueled the fire for the eventual showdown. Khabib, a man of honor, was unwavering in his focus. For him, the fight wasn't about the personal attacks. It was about defending his title, his people, and his pride. The fight, UFC 229, the calm before the storm. As fight night approached, the tension was palpable. The weigh-ins were a spectacle. McGregor entered with his usual confidence, taunting Khabib, but Khabib remained stoic, his eyes fixed on the task ahead. McGregor's antics and mind games had no effect on the Eagle, who only had one thing on his mind: victory. When the fighters entered the octagon at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas on October 6, 2018, the crowd was electric. The animosity between the two was evident, but so was the respect. Khabib, in his traditional red trunks, and McGregor, wearing his usual black, stared each other down, ready for war. Round 1, the early exchanges. The first round was classic McGregor, fast, dangerous, and full of precision. He landed a few clean left hands, but Khabib's pressure was suffocating. The Irishman had moments, but Khabib's relentless pursuit of the takedown forced McGregor to work harder than he'd anticipated. Khabib was not only strong, but patient. He seemed to be luring McGregor into his game, using feints and quick entries to close the distance. The round ended with Khabib gaining control in the clinch, landing short but heavy shots. Round 2, Khabib's domination. By the second round, Khabib had taken control. After a brief exchange on the feet, Khabib landed the takedown and immediately went to work with his ground and pound. McGregor had no answer for Khabib's wrestling. The Dagestani fighter transitioned between positions with fluidity, landing heavy blows to McGregor's body and head. McGregor's face began to show the damage, his mouth hanging open, breathing heavier. But Khabib remained composed, executing his game plan flawlessly. Khabib didn't just want to win. He wanted to prove a point, to show that McGregor's trash talk and bravado were meaningless inside the octagon. Round 3, McGregor's will to fight. In the third round, McGregor's experience and toughness began to shine through. He had managed to stuff a few of Khabib's takedowns and briefly created distance, landing a few punches. But Khabib's pressure was unyielding. McGregor seemed fatigued, his movements slower and less precise than before. Khabib wasn't letting up. He was a machine, moving with the precision of someone who knew he had his opponent exactly where he wanted him. Round 4, the finish and the controversy. As the fourth round began, the end seemed inevitable. Khabib knew it was his time. After another dominant takedown, Khabib secured McGregor's back and worked for the finish. With precision and control, Khabib sunk in a neck crank, forcing McGregor to tap at 3-3 of round 4. The fight was over. Khabib was the victor. He had defended his title and remained undefeated, but the story didn't end there. The chaos after the fight. What happened next would become a part of UFC lore. As soon as Khabib's hand was raised in victory, he leaped over the cage and charged toward McGregor's corner, throwing punches at McGregor's teammate, Dylan Dennis. The arena erupted in chaos. Security rushed in, and the situation quickly spiraled out of control. The scene was a stark contrast to Khabib's composed demeanor during the fight. His actions were a direct response to the months of taunts and insults from McGregor. Khabib's team, including his father, were deeply offended by McGregor's words and actions leading up to the fight. The UFC quickly intervened, but the damage was done. Khabib was escorted out of the arena, and an investigation was launched. Both Khabib and McGregor faced temporary suspensions, and Khabib was fined a portion of his purse. Yet, despite the controversy, Khabib remained resolute, stating that his actions were a result of the disrespect he had endured. The aftermath, legacy, and reflection. Khabib's victory was a statement. He had not only defeated Conor McGregor, but he had done so in a way that left no questions about who the better fighter was. Khabib's 29-0 record stood unblemished, and his legacy as one of the greatest fighters in MMA history was secured. As for McGregor, the defeat marked a turning point in his career. Though he had his moments during the fight, it was clear that Khabib's style had neutralized him. McGregor's return to the top was uncertain, and he would never reclaim the lightweight title. But the story of Khabib vs. McGregor would live on forever. It was more than just a fight. It was a battle of ideologies, cultures, and pride. A war between two fighters who couldn't have been more different, yet whose paths collided in a way that would define both of their careers for eternity.